Welcome to The Explainer. We are diving straight into a truly massive, centuries-spanning narrative today. We're going to answer one big question. How exactly was a modern identity forged from the ashes of an ancient empire? It's a wildly fascinating story, one that literally rewired the entire map of Eastern Europe. So to really grasp the map as it exists right now, we have to totally look past our modern assumptions. We need to dive deep into the often violent underlying structural currents of history. Think about it. How on earth does the complete downfall of an ancient city actually plant the seeds for an entirely new nation? We'll be breaking this down across four distinct eras today. First, the keys to Kyiv. Second, the Mongol conquest. Third, inside Pax Mongolia. And finally, the making of Ukraine. All right, let's jump right into part one, the keys to Kyiv, looking at those early power structures. Long before anyone even thought about modern borders, early Kyivan Rus was the undisputed center of gravity in the region. Situated perfectly right there along the Dnieper River, Kyiv wasn't just some small settlement. No, it was this sprawling, dominant force commanding absolutely immense wealth across the medieval world. Honestly, Kyiv was the ultimate geopolitical prize. It acted as the crucial linchpin on those famous Varangian Greek trade routes. Basically, it connected the Vikings up north to the Byzantine Empire down south. So whoever controlled Kyiv practically held the economic leverage of the whole continent. And as you can guess, that sparked endless, often violent friction as rival factions constantly fought for control. Which brings us to part two, the Mongol conquest, a truly devastating arrival. Right in the early 1200s, the rules of the game were just completely rewritten by this massive, unprecedented disruption coming out of the east. The Mongol Empire, pushing westward under leaders like Batu Khan, expanded with terrifying speed. By 1240, Kyiv didn't just fall, it was absolutely decimated. And by the late 1200s, those proud, highly independent Rus principalities, they were essentially reduced to subjugated vassals under the Golden Horde. The territorial map was completely and fundamentally redrawn. That old patchwork of localized, independent Rus principalities got swallowed up whole. And the political center of gravity shifted entirely away from those old Western fortress cities. It was pulled way eastward, right out onto the open steppes by the Golden Horde. Okay, moving to part three, inside Pax Mongolica, the rise of a totally new Eurasian system. So the initial destruction eventually settled into a new reality, known as Pax Mongolica. Now, this was a stabilizing, sure, but incredibly harsh imperial framework. But the crazy thing is, it worked. It essentially created a massive medieval free trade zone. It allowed goods, communication, and administration to just flow on a scale that the world had practically never seen before. The transformation of everyday life was just absolute. That localized, fiercely independent trade from the pre-Horde era, completely gone. At the height of Pax Mongolica, the entire region was forcibly plugged into this massive, interconnected Eurasian network. Tribute and commerce were now flowing systematically, directly to the Khans. You have to look at the profound trade-off here. Yes, the early cities lost their political autonomy, and yeah, they paid really heavy tributes. But at the exact same time, they were integrated into a highly lucrative, continent-spanning system. Suddenly, you had goods, brand new technologies and ideas crossing all the way from China straight into Eastern Europe at a totally unprecedented pace. But, no empire lasts forever, right? Not even the largest contiguous land empire in human history. As that iron Mongol grip slowly started to loosen over the centuries, it created an absolutely massive power vacuum. And the big question becomes, when the overlords recede, who exactly inherits the land? Let's get into our final era, part four, the making of Ukraine, and how a new identity forms. Following that Mongol retreat starting in the 14th century, the region didn't just magically revert back to the old ways of Kyiv. That's not how history works. Instead, a complex multi-century evolution ticked off. We see these fiercely independent frontier cultures rising up in the 15th and 16th centuries, and they drove major cultural shifts that, by the 18th century, really started to crystallize into a distinct territorial identity. The withdrawal of that central Mongol authority left behind what was known as the wild fields, just this wide-open, incredibly dangerous steppe. And stepping right into that void were the Cossacks. They eventually formed powerful strongholds like the Zaporozhian Sich. These were fiercely independent, highly militarized, self-governing communities that absolutely thrived in all that political decentralization. Their rugged frontier spirit essentially became the bedrock for a new linguistic and cultural identity, one that was completely distinct from the other massive empires slowly encroaching on their borders. It was this very shifting frontier that slowly began carving out a highly distinct territory. This wasn't a static place, it was a space in constant motion. It reflected a people continuously negotiating their survival, and really their identity, right between the retreating ashes of the East and the rapidly rising imperial powers of the West. Ultimately, this distinct cultural and territorial identity was definitely not created overnight, and it certainly wasn't just handed down by some king. Instead, it was painfully and deliberately forged in the crucible of history. It synthesized the deep, ancient roots of Kyivan Rus with the monumental, totally transformative aftermath of the Mongol Empire. Well, that actually brings us to the end of our journey today. But the next time you look at a map of the world, I want you to really ponder something. Are our modern borders ever truly fixed, or are we always just living in the evolving aftermath of history's great empires? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember to keep questioning the history behind the maps.